Okay, welcome here again at WeShare Fest. I'm talking to Peter. You're from Denmark. Peter,
I am, yeah.
tell us something about you.
About me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I do future studies mainly. I try to keep an eye on where things headed in the future, and I try to recognize the patterns that will change the rules that we're all playing along with. How does the world change, and how do we need to change our way of behaving in order to thrive in the future?
Okay, great. Sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And today you gave a lecture over here at WeShare Fest. Can you share something to the people over here about your story in the lecture?
Yeah. So I think my main point is that this festival is about the sharing economy, and generally I feel that what's happening right now is actually a larger thing than just the sharing economy, even though that is a big thing. I think in general the world is moving towards becoming more connected and more interdependent. And when you create value in the future, I think you will be creating value in more complex systems that involve more players. So if you are working closer together and you are more interdependent, then you get into the same mechanisms that the sharing economy is about. The thing that you have to realize that you are dependent on somebody else and that your success depends on their success. So your fates are linked. And when you look at that in a business context, it really changes a lot of the logics that regular conventional economics are built on, because business is very much built on competition and this idea that like a zero-sum game, that if I gain, you lose. Mm-hmm. But I think this economy and the idea that we are together in a system indicates that we have to find solutions where we create something together so we get more, all of us. And that's just not the kind of thinking that you have in most businesses. So if you want to change your ways of doing business, you have to think in a larger perspective, because there's a lot of possibility from engaging other companies and users, releasing knowledge that's not right now in use. But if you do that, you can actually create growth in new ways.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And what way, because we're now in a really exciting moment where the balance between corporate, individual, startups is really interesting. And what way do you think that in the future startups and the companies and also the crowd, so this new balance will be?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now there's not a lot of interaction. I think a typical company that produces a new product, if they ask the consumers, that's great. But most of the time, a lot of companies will simply just, the engineers will create a new service or a new product that they won't even test it. This is slowly beginning to change, but I think this is just an indication of what we need, which is that you actually create things from the start with an involvement of users, with an involvement of other companies that might have resources, that you understand that you can't solve a problem alone. And if you really want to create a good solution, you need to think in a larger context. So you will connect, you will interact at a much wider scale.
Okay, and when you're talking about connecting the crowd also to the company, you're also talking about adding value for all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Do you have some examples about companies who are already in this process?
Well, it's interesting because I think it's very tricky, the value part, because if you have an interaction where some of the participants are users and some of the participants are commercial companies, you have different motivations. A company will usually do it more or less purely for profit, while a user will use it for social recognition, to do good, because they have a particular problem they want to solve. They may also do it for money. So you have an exchange where you are exchanging different kinds of value. And I think companies that want to engage in this have to understand that the other values that are non-monetary, they have to be respected and recognized, because otherwise you cannot engage other users to participate in what you're doing. So I think a classic conflict comes when Facebook operates a platform and people pour their life into this and they get a lot of social value, and then Facebook announces, oh, but we want to use the information which is now our information. They sort of take the information and they turn it into money for their shareholders. I think people react very, very strongly to that. They sense that somebody is trying only to make it into a commercial thing, and they're not acting in the communal interest anymore. So I think if you want this to work, I think it's really important that you keep taking the user's interest seriously. Otherwise, they will find other places to contribute.
Yeah, I think it's also really a way of doing the good communications. Like there was an example in the Netherlands, ING, big bank. They said, okay, we're going to do research about how we can use the big data of the consumers to sell to advertisers.
Yeah,
so that was
yes.
And lots of people were really angry about it. They also lost customers about it. But at the end, every bank is busy with researching. Okay, how can we use our big data to make more profit or to make a better product? So I think it's really important in the communication to focus on the solution instead of okay, we're going to do this to make more money.
Yeah.
And I also think that the balance you told about between the corporations they are focusing on at the end making money will also be different between the the companies. They also need to handle more from vision instead of handle from the short-term profits of maximum profits.
Yeah, I think that's one of the new things about this economy, is that it's not just about money. And I think money and value is not the same thing. And I think this is what this brings to the economy, is that it's an attempt to sort of insert other values into an economical system. So here we have a place where it's where you on top of we all have to make money, of course, but on top of that we have to take it seriously that people do not act only because of money. And this economy is different from the conventional economy because it realizes that from the start. It knows that there are other values.
Yeah, but I think when you look at the basic, well, what is new? Because at the end, like I talk to lots of family companies, and they're really busy with their values, their DNA, and they're not busy with making the maximum profit in short time. So I think in basic there's not something really new, but I think that we just have to reinvent ourselves, and that's I think really a big challenge simply because lots of people are being calculated because of making most money as possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's not new that we think about something else than money. I think that of course we've already done it, and I think we've all been acting with a mixture of motivations. I think what's new is that because we are becoming so connected and because it's so cheap to organize new kinds of contributions to the economy, you can start mobilizing contributions that are not driven by profit motives. So I think if you want this next layer of value, and if you want that to be part of the economy, you have to understand that next layer is driven by a different motivation.
Yeah.
And it's simply a new way of thinking.
Yeah, it's great. And you also told me that you're busy with preparing a research.
Yeah.
Can you share some information about that?
Yes, I'm hoping very much to get a grant for a major research project. But in any case, we're a number of organizations in Denmark that are working together to over a year have a look at what are the tools that companies can use to make this a part of their normal business. How do they assess risks? How do they understand what the motivations of their users are? What do they do with copyrights? How do they manage and control projects when they're not in charge of it alone? There's a number of fundamental questions about how to conduct business, and we'd like to have a look at those. Okay,
so you're really going to research to create tools for existing companies to get into the collaborative economy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Looking forward to when will there be news about the research? Or
I don't know. We're working on it. Yeah.
Is there already a website where you can find more information?
No, I'm afraid there's not. It's all in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I say thank you very much.
Yeah, sure.
And we will share information at a platform where there's more information about the research.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Good.
Keep contact.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.